The van rattled as it rolled over the last stretch of gravel road, winding through towering pine trees like a silver beetle crawling into the heart of the forest. Dust kicked up in clouds behind them, golden in the late afternoon light. The forest here, in the remote stretches of northern Washington, was ancient, thick with evergreens, moss, and silence so deep it felt like sound itself had given up trying to exist here. "Okay, this is definitely the middle of nowhere," said Rachel, leaning forward from the back seat to get a better view through the windshield. Her voice carried the mix of excitement and wariness that had become common over the last few hours. "This is exactly where legends go to die," joked Tyler, the unofficial instigator of their camping trip. He adjusted his snapback and grinned at the others like he knew something they didn't. He probably did. Emma, who was driving, narrowed her eyes at the GPS on her cracked phone. "Signal's gone," she muttered. "We're officially off the grid." "Good," said Caleb, sitting quietly in the passenger seat. "That's the whole point, isn't it?" The group, 5 friends bound by college memories and a shared craving for something real, had decided to spend a long weekend camping in Black Hollow Forest. The name alone had thrilled Tyler, who had read about it on a subreddit filled with local myths and backwoods horror stories. The rest of the group, Rachel, Emma, Caleb, and Mia, had come along for the adventure, the break from work and routine, and maybe, just maybe, for the unspoken hope that some secret still lay buried out in the wild. By the time they parked and hauled their gear onto their backs, the sun had begun its slow descent behind the ridgeline. The forest grew colder and darker with each step into its depths. There were no trails here, just deer paths and game trails, and Tyler insisted that's what made it authentic. They walked for nearly an hour before settling near a clearing surrounded by tall, skeletal trees. The underbrush was strangely sparse, as if something had pressed everything flat. Mia commented on it, but nobody responded. The air was damp. Every snapped twig echoed louder than it should. As night fell, they set up their tents and lit a small fire. Conversation turned to ghost stories and missing hikers. Tyler brought up the local legend of Adam Merrick, a young man who vanished in Black Hollow 5 years ago. No trace of him was ever found, no body, no gear, not even footprints leading away. "They said he kept a journal," Tyler added, poking at the fire. "Search and rescue found it weeks later, but it only covered his first day out. Then, nothing." "That's comforting," muttered Emma. The night deepened. The trees creaked with the weight of wind, and the stars above were fierce and cold. At some point, everyone drifted into their tents, lulled by the crackling fire and the illusion of safety. It was Caleb who woke first the next morning. He'd wandered away from the camp to relieve himself and stumbled upon something half buried beneath a fallen log. At first he thought it was just trash, an old notebook or weather-beaten manual. But as he brushed the dirt away, the leather cover became clear. Faded but intact. A name was etched into the front in crude, burned-in letters. Merrick. His heart pounded. "Guys," he called out, gripping the book. "You need to see this." The group gathered around, groggy but alert. Tyler's eyes gleamed. No freaking way. The journal was soaked through at the edges, its spine cracked and bent from years in the elements. But the ink inside, shockingly, was dry. Legible. Alive. Emma flipped through the pages. The first few entries matched what Tyler had said. Notes about Merrick's hike, sketches of the forest, thoughts about escaping civilization. Then the entries grew frantic. Words scratched in haste. Paranoia leaking through every line. He claimed the forest watched him. That trees moved when he wasn't looking. That he saw something in the fog. The last entry was dated October 17, 2020. But the next page had a new entry. April 5, 2025. They froze. "That's today," whispered Rachel. The handwriting, tight, slanted, precise, was unmistakable. Not old. Not faded. Not 5 years gone. And worse, it matched Caleb's. Silence swallowed the clearing. Caleb stepped back as if the journal had bitten him, his hand trembling. The others just stared, expressions tightening like ropes being pulled. Emma was the first to move, taking the journal carefully from his hands, flipping back and forth between the entry dated 2020 and the new one, April 5, 2025. There it was, written in the same flowing, angular script that she had seen on dozens of birthday cards and post-it notes stuck to her fridge. Caleb's handwriting. Without a doubt. This has to be a joke, Rachel said, her voice too loud, too sharp. "Someone's messing with us. Right, Tyler? This is your thing, right?" Tyler looked pale, his usual cocky smirk gone. "I swear to God I didn't do this. I didn't even know that journal was here. This is real." "Real how?" Mia asked, her arms wrapped around herself. How could something written today, Today, be in a journal buried in the dirt for 5 years? Caleb said nothing. His jaw clenched. He was staring at the page again, not like he was reading it, but like he was remembering it. Like the words were his, though he had no memory of writing them. Emma read the entry aloud, her voice slow, uncertain. I wake before the others. The fire's almost out. I can hear the trees breathing again. I try to tell them, but they don't believe me. I don't blame them. I wouldn't believe me either. But the forest is folding in on itself. I see the eyes. I hear the thing moving just beyond the tree line. I think it knows I'm writing this. See? Her voice broke at the signature. Caleb's initial. His mark. A gust of wind passed through the trees like a long exhale. A branch snapped far off, deep in the woods. All 5 of them turned in unison toward the sound. Caleb broke the silence. I didn't write that. I swear to you I didn't. But. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Mia stepped forward and grabbed the journal. She rifled backward through earlier pages. Her breath caught. There's more entries, she whispered. Not just the one from today. There's one from yesterday. And the day before that. All leading up to this trip. The group clustered around her. Tyler read aloud this time, slowly, carefully. March 30th, 2025. They think this is a camping trip. That I invited them out here for fun. But I know better. Something in the back of my skull has been itching since I found the trail map. Like I've been here before. Like I never left. April 2nd. The dreams are getting worse. The trees have faces now. Sometimes I wake up standing in the dark. I don't remember walking out of my room. I just wake up there, staring at a place I don't recognize. But I feel home there. Caleb backed away, visibly shaking. No, this is impossible. This is a sick prank. A game. Rachel's eyes welled up. But who would do this to you? None of us would. We've all been together the past few weeks. We saw you. You didn't disappear, Caleb. But even as she said it, doubt crept into her voice like frostbite. Emma knelt and looked closer at the journal, flipping to the back cover. Her fingers brushed over something stuck between the pages. She pulled it out, a small photo, water-warped but visible. It was a blurry Polaroid, probably from a disposable camera. 5 people standing in the forest. But not exactly. Rachel gasped. Wait, what am I wearing in that photo? I never wore that jacket. Emma, your hair's short. Emma reached up instinctively. I haven't cut it in 2 years. Tyler whispered, the trees behind us, they look the same. Like, exactly the same as this clearing. This spot. They were in the same pose. Same angle. But the expressions were wrong. Rachel's smile in the photo was wide, forced, eyes dull. Mia's face was pale, drawn. Caleb wasn't smiling at all. He was staring into the camera like he knew. This is wrong, Mia muttered. This is really wrong. Emma slammed the journal shut and stood. We need to leave. Now, pack up and go. We hike back to the van and get to the nearest ranger station. We report everything. But Caleb didn't move. He was still staring into the trees, face pale as ash. I remember this place, he said softly. I've dreamed of it since I was 12, always from the same angle. Standing right here. Watching something move between the trees. It always ends the same way, someone screaming. Then silence. Caleb, don't, Emma said. Don't spiral. That's exactly what this forest wants. I'm not spiraling, he whispered. I think I've been here before. Really been here. Tyler swore under his breath. You guys know what this sounds like, right? A time loop. Or a haunting. Or something worse. Worse than a time loop? Mia asked. Like, possession, Tyler said. Or merging timelines. What if Caleb was here 5 years ago? Or a version of him? And now he's remembering it? The wind rose again. And with it came a low hum like distant static. Not natural. Not wind. A vibration deep and growing. Emma reached for the journal again. She froze. A new entry had appeared. April 6, 2025. We tried to leave today. The forest moved. The trail was gone. It only comes back when it wants us to follow. Tyler said we should wait it out. Rachel's crying again. Mia keeps staring into the trees. I think she sees it too. The hollow. The thing in the hollow. Emma, read this. She'll know what to do. They all looked at Emma. Her hands trembled. What the hell does that mean? Rachel backed away. It's writing itself now? That's not possible. No one responded. The hum grew louder, almost imperceptible, but now resonating through the ground beneath their feet. The trees around the clearing seemed taller now, leaning inward. casting long, unnatural shadows. Emma looked at Caleb. "We're not staying another night." He nodded slowly. "We try to leave at first light. But we mark the trail. Every step." Tyler grabbed a hatchet and slashed a wide gash into a nearby tree. Sap oozed like blood. "We'll blaze every damn tree if we have to." They didn't sleep that night. The fire burned low, but no one dared let it die. Something moved in the woods, circling just beyond the light. Always just far enough that no one could see it clearly. But they all heard it breathing. Dawn was reluctant. The sun bled through the trees like a wound barely healing, its light filtered and sickly, turning the forest into a canvas of shadows and silhouettes. The fire had burned to embers, but no one had slept. Their eyes were rimmed red, skin clammy, nerves stretched thin. Emma stood first. She hadn't spoken in hours, but her hands were already pulling down the tent poles with silent determination. Her movements were mechanical, efficient. Purpose was the only thing holding her together now. "Everyone pack up." 10 minutes, she ordered, voice hoarse. The others obeyed without protest. Even Tyler, who usually joked through any situation, was dead quiet as he stuffed his gear into his backpack. Caleb didn't speak at all. He just kept glancing over his shoulder, eyes darting to the treeline every few seconds. Mia approached Emma as they tightened the straps on their packs. "Are we really going to try to hike out of here?" she asked. "What if the trail's gone like the journal said?" Emma looked at her and her face softened for a moment. "Then we make our own trail. We follow the compass, cut east, and don't stop moving. Whatever's happening here, it wants us to stay." They each took something to mark the trees, knives, chalk, even Emma's lipstick. Every 10 steps they marked a trunk. Tyler hacked slashes into bark with his hatchet, counting out loud, 1, 2, 3. But after 15 minutes of steady hiking, Caleb suddenly stopped. "Wait," he said, voice tight. "I've seen this tree before." They turned back. It was the one Tyler had marked first. The bark still oozed sap. His hatchet slash, crude and unmistakable, was staring back at them. "But that's impossible," Tyler said. "We've been going straight. I've been counting steps. We didn't turn." Rachel spun in a slow circle, scanning the woods. "It's the forest. It's folding in on us." "No," Emma said firmly. "That's just panic. It's a loop or an illusion. Maybe a gas pocket or spores or—" She stopped, realizing how thin her logic sounded. Mia took a shaky breath. "What if it's not that the forest is turning us around, but that we are repeating ourselves? Like we're on rails, like it wants us to relive something." "Stop," Caleb said suddenly. His voice was low, shaking. They looked at him. He was staring into the woods, eyes wide, unblinking. "I see it," he whispered. Emma stepped toward him. "Caleb, what do you see?" He pointed slowly. There, half obscured by vines and moss, was a narrow trail none of them had noticed before. It curved like a spine into the dark, too symmetrical to be natural. The earth beneath it was sunken slightly, like it had been walked 1,000 times. "I've seen this in my dreams," Caleb said. "Every time. This trail." Against every instinct, against reason, against fear, they followed it. They walked for nearly an hour, deeper into the hollow of the forest. The air thickened. The trees grew closer together, their trunks warped and twisted like bone. Birdsong vanished. Even insects dared not hum here. And then, between the trees, they found it. A cabin. Old, rotted, as if it had been abandoned for decades, but somehow untouched by nature. Vines avoided its walls. No moss grew on its roof. The front door hung ajar, swinging gently without wind. On the wall beside the door, carved deep into the wood, were initials. Sita. Rachel gasped. "That's Adam Merrick. And Caleb." "No," Emma said, but her voice wavered. "That's not possible. He wasn't even here." "Yes, he was," Caleb said softly. "Part of me never left." He stepped forward. Tyler grabbed his arm. "Are you seriously going in there? Have you seen any horror movie ever?" "This isn't fiction," Caleb said. "It's memory." And then he walked inside. The others followed, slowly, hesitantly. The interior was dark but dry. Dust lay thick on everything, an old table, broken chairs, a lantern long extinguished. But on the far wall, illuminated by a shaft of light through a cracked window, hung a map. Hand-drawn. Jagged. Detailed. The forest. Their exact location marked with red symbols. Circles. Access. Names. Mia ran her fingers over one of them. "This says Rachel. And this is me." There were 5 names. All of them. And in the center, the hollow. Below the map was another journal. Thicker. Bound in black leather. Emma reached for it, but Caleb stopped her. "I've read that one before," he said. "You mean in your dreams?" she asked. He shook his head. "No. When I was here. 5 years ago. I was Adam's friend." Silence fell like a hammer. "What the hell are you talking about?" Rachel said, voice rising. Caleb sat down slowly on the floor. He looked pale, older, like the truth was wearing through him. "I didn't remember until now. Until we came back. But I was here before. Not in this body. Not in this life. I was Adam's friend. We came out here just like this. Something called to us." "You're saying you're reincarnated?" Tyler asked, half laughing, half terrified. "I'm saying something took us. And it brought us back. And the journal, this one, it's not writing the future. It's recording what's already happened." Emma turned and opened the black journal. The last entry read, "We entered the cabin. I remembered everything. The forest doesn't let you leave until you understand. Until you become part of it. One by one we return. The cycle begins again. Emma will find this. She always does. And at the bottom. Tomorrow is the hollow. Tomorrow it chooses." Outside the wind had stopped. The air was too still. Too quiet. And then they heard it. A voice. Faint. Distant. Calling from the trees. "Caleb." But it wasn't a stranger's voice. It was his own. Caleb's eyes glowed faint gold like dying embers in the night. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't possessed. But he wasn't the same. Emma knelt in front of him, her hand hovering just inches from his shoulder. "Caleb, are you still you?" He blinked slowly. The light in his eyes flickered and dimmed. When he spoke, his voice was layered, his own but deeper underneath, like another version of himself whispering at the same time. "I think I'm more myself now than I've ever been." Behind her, Rachel whispered, "This is how it starts. This is how people change in horror stories." "This isn't a story," Mia said quietly. "This is remembrance." They helped Caleb to his feet. He swayed, not from weakness, but as if adjusting to a body he hadn't worn in a long time. "The hollow," he said, looking around the trees. "It's not just a place. It's a presence. It was here before we had names for it. Before towns, before maps. It remembers everyone who enters. And if you forget yourself, if you lose your grip on who you are, it keeps you." Tyler let out a sharp laugh. "So what, we're just walking memories? Like entries in its diary?" Caleb nodded slowly. "Exactly that." Emma stepped away, rubbing her arms against the chill. "So how do we leave? How do we break the cycle?" Caleb turned to her. "We have to finish it." "Finish what?" He pointed toward the trees. Toward the center of the map. The hollow. They followed the hand-drawn map from the journal. The forest changed around them as they walked. Trees grew more skeletal, their bark split and bleeding a dark, sap-like ooze. Rocks were carved with strange symbols, swirling, shifting as if alive. No birds. No wind. Only the sound of their breathing. After an hour, they reached a clearing. It was unlike anything they'd seen before. A perfect circle of dead earth, ringed with twisted roots. In the center stood a monolith, black stone, 10 feet tall, smooth as glass. It hummed with a low-frequency vibration that they felt more than heard. Caleb stepped forward, eyes wide. "This is it. This is where it began." Emma walked beside him. "What is that stone?" "It's a tether," he said. "A memory anchor. For the forest. For the hollow. Everything it absorbs, it stores here." Tyler circled it cautiously. "So this thing is like a backup drive for souls?" Rachel grabbed Mia's arm. "I don't like this. This is some elder god kind of crap." Suddenly, Caleb placed his hand on the stone. Everyone froze. And then he spoke, but not in English. The words poured out of him in a guttural, ancient tongue, rhythmic and hypnotic. The monolith responded. Symbols began to glow across its surface, pulsing in time with his voice. Emma backed up. "Caleb, what are you doing?" "I remember now," he said. "The ritual. The reason Adam came. The reason we all came." He looked at them all. "I didn't just come here 5 years ago. I came 100 years ago. 1,000. I've been here over and over. And each time, I forgot. But the hollow remembers. And it brings me back." Mia looked horrified. "Are you saying you're trapped here? Reborn just to repeat this cycle?" "No," Caleb whispered. "I'm saying I was chosen to end it." The ground beneath them shuddered. Cracks snaked out from the monolith in all directions, glowing red. Then the whispers began. Not from around them, but from inside their own minds. Each of them heard their own voices, crying. begging, reliving traumas they had buried. Rachel fell to her knees. No, no, don't make me go through it again. Emma grabbed her, shouting. It's in your head. Fight it. Mia covered her ears. It's like, it's trying to rewrite us. Caleb turned back to the stone, shouting over the chaos. It's testing us. This is the final memory loop. If we give in, if we let go of who we are, it keeps us forever. Tyler fell backwards, convulsing. It's showing me, my brother, when he died I couldn't save him. Emma ran to him. That's not you now. That's your grief. Don't let it replace you. Caleb placed both palms against the stone and began chanting louder. The light grew unbearable. The wind howled. Trees bent inward as if watching. Then the stone cracked. A blinding flash. Silence. When Emma opened her eyes, they were somewhere else. The clearing was gone. The monolith vanished. Just trees. Ordinary. Peaceful. Birdsong. She sat up slowly. The others were scattered across the forest floor, dazed but alive. The air smelled fresh. Normal. Caleb stood in the center, silent. His eyes no longer glowed. Emma approached him. Caleb. He looked at her, smiling faintly. It's done, he said. The hollow let us go. You broke the loop? He nodded. It wanted me to remember. To bring others with me. To give it closure. Now it rests. Behind them, Rachel started crying with relief. Tyler and Mia hugged, laughing through tears. But Emma was watching Caleb carefully. What happens to you now? His smile faded. I don't think I go with you. She stepped closer. No. Don't say that. I'm not Caleb anymore. Not fully. I've been too many people. The hollow was part of me. And now that it's gone. He looked at his hand, fading, becoming light, like fireflies dissolving into air. I go with it. No, Emma said, grabbing his arm. We just got you back. He looked at her, eyes filled with peace. You set me free. And then he was gone. Just missed. A breeze. And for the first time in days, the sun broke through the trees. Caleb. The voice shimmered through the trees like a ripple across still water, soft, familiar, and horrifying. Because it wasn't just any voice. It was his. Exactly his. Same pitch. Same rhythm. Same fear woven into every syllable. Tell me you all heard that, Tyler said, backing away from the open door of the cabin. His hand trembled on the handle of the hatchet. Emma didn't answer. She was staring at Caleb. He looked like he was trying not to breathe. Caleb, she said softly. Is that your voice? I mean really yours. Caleb didn't answer at first. He just nodded, once slow and heavy like it hurt to admit. I've heard it before, he said. In dreams. But never this clear. Dreams? Rachel echoed, her voice on the edge of panic. How long has this been happening? Caleb looked at her, eyes hollow. Since I was a kid. Mia leaned against the cabin wall for support. No, that doesn't make sense. You didn't even know Adam Merrick, right? Not in this life. I think I did, Caleb said. Not as Caleb. But I think I was someone else. I don't know how or why, but something brought me here once before. And it's bringing me back again. Outside the voice came again. Closer. Caleb, help me, it's cold. That voice was cracked now, desperate. Pleading. Tyler's skin went pale. Nope. We are not doing this ghost possession memory loop bullshit. We find a road. We run in a straight line. I don't care if it's through a river or a mountain. I'm done. Emma didn't move. She was still staring at the black leather journal. The map. The red X's. Their names. This place isn't haunted, she murmured. What? Mia asked. It's intelligent, Emma said, her voice low. It's not just echoing our fears, it's rewriting us. Studying us. It made that journal appear. It wrote to us. It knows our patterns. Rachel gripped her arm. But why? What does it want? Caleb's voice cut through like a blade. It wants a replacement. Everyone turned to him. He stood slowly, expression unreadable. I remember now. Adam, he wasn't supposed to go alone. I was supposed to come with him, but I backed out at the last minute. He went without me. And he never came back. Rachel shook her head. That doesn't make sense. You were a kid when he disappeared. How could you? I don't think time matters here, he said. Not in the way we understand it. This place, it bends things. Lives. Memories. It remembers everyone who enters, even across lifetimes. Maybe I wasn't just a friend. Maybe I was Adam. The room fell into stunned silence. Tyler scoffed, but it was hollow. Reincarnation. Time loops. Forest with brains. I've officially gone insane. The wind outside shifted. Leaves rustled. And then a footstep. A real one. Crunch. Closer. The air inside the cabin turned icy. Frost crept up the broken window pane. Emma could see her breath now, fogging in front of her mouth. Another step. Then a shadow passed by the window. Tall. Human-shaped. But wrong. It hung in the air like it didn't belong to gravity. Caleb stepped forward, slowly toward the door. Emma moved to block him. Don't. We don't know what that is. Caleb looked at her, not afraid. Just resigned. I think I do. He stepped out of the cabin. The others followed, hesitant. The clearing outside had changed. The trees leaned inward like an audience, their bare limbs stretching down toward the earth. And in the center of the clearing stood a figure. He was wearing Caleb's face. But it wasn't him. Not this Caleb. His clothes were older. Torn. His skin pale like candle wax. His eyes, completely black. Not angry. Not malicious. Just empty. Help me, the figure said again, voice cracked and distant, like it traveled through layers of time. Caleb took a step forward. Then another. Wait, Emma called after him. Think, Caleb. Why now? Why would it reveal itself now? Caleb turned slightly, voice cold. Because I'm finally listening. And then he spoke, not to them but to the figure. You died out here, didn't you? The figure tilted its head. You waited for help that never came. For me? Caleb's voice cracked. I'm sorry. I left you alone. The figure moved, closer, gliding more than walking. Not hostile. Not threatening. Just drawn. I want to come back, it whispered. Caleb held out his hand, trembling. Then a wind screamed through the clearing, louder than a jet engine, tearing leaves from the trees in spirals. The figure split, shattered like glass into black smoke and shadows, twisting around Caleb's outstretched hand. He dropped to his knees, gasping. Emma ran to him. Caleb, are you? But she froze when she saw his eyes. They weren't black like the figure. They were glowing faintly gold. And in that moment, Caleb smiled. Not his usual smile, but something deep and ancient. It remembers, he whispered. And now, so do I. It took them 2 days to find the edge of the forest. No voices whispered from the trees. No monoliths. No glowing symbols. Just endless green and the slow return of birdsong, the sun warming their skin, and the sound of wind that no longer felt like breath on the back of their necks. They didn't talk much. There was too much to process. Caleb was gone. Not dead, just gone. Dissolved like mist, leaving behind no body, no trace, only memory. And silence. By the time they stumbled onto the asphalt road that cut across the edge of Black Pine Forest, Rachel fell to her knees and kissed it. Tyler waved down a passing ranger truck with both arms and tears in his eyes. Mia laughed and cried at the same time. Emma just stood there, staring back into the trees, as if they might call her name again. But they didn't. They never did. 1 week later. The media called it a miracle. 5 college students survived missing for 6 days in Black Pine Forest. No food, no supplies, yet all in good health. The police were baffled. Search dogs never caught a scent. Drones picked up nothing. The forest had swallowed them like a secret. None of them told the truth. Because who would believe them? Who would believe in a forest that thinks, that remembers, that feeds on forgetting? So they lied. They said they got lost in a cave. Slept in shifts. Found a trail and walked. The ranger smiled. Damn lucky, huh? Most people who go missing up there never turn up again. Emma only nodded. But she wasn't smiling. Aftermath. Tyler transferred to a school in Arizona. I need deserts, he joked. Places with nothing but sand and sun and absolutely zero cursed trees. Rachel started therapy. She stopped writing horror stories. Mia dropped out of school entirely. She said she wanted to study folklore. Old religions. She was last seen boarding a plane to Norway. Emma returned home to Vermont. Quiet. Change. Sometimes she would dream of Caleb, not the one who disappeared into light, but the one who laughed too hard at bad jokes, who burned eggs every time they camped. But more often she dreamed of something else. The journal. The pages turning on their own. New entries. Written in her handwriting. Epilogue, 6 months later. It was a cold morning in October when the package arrived. No return address. Just her name. Inside was a leather-bound journal. Black cover. Familiar weight. And on the first page, written in ink still wet. Day 1. I came back. I didn't mean to. But something's wrong. The hollow remembers me again. And this time, it wants more. Below it, scribbled hastily in the corner, "Emma, help me." Her hand trembled. The handwriting? It was Caleb's. But not the Caleb she knew. Older. Tired. Afraid. She stared at the journal for a long time, her breath shallow. Then she picked up a pen. And on the next blank page she began to write. Day 2. I never thought I'd go back. But I don't leave people behind. Not this time. Not again. She packed a bag. Water. Food. The journal. And a compass. She paused at the edge of the tree line later that afternoon, standing in the same place they had emerged from months ago. The wind stirred the leaves. For a moment it sounded like her name. And then she stepped into the trees. This story is not real.